Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia.
Severe tropical cyclone Narelle has made landfall on Western Australia's Pilbara coast near Coral Bay as a powerful Category 4 system. The storm brought destructive winds gusting up to 260 kilometers per hour, ripping roofs off homes, causing widespread structural damage, and triggering dangerous storm surges along the coast. Heavy rainfall is leading to flash flooding risks that may extend toward Perth as the system weakens and tracks south between Carnarvon and Kalbarri. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has responded to criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump regarding Australia's support in the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran. Albanese stated that his government is playing a constructive role and has made a positive contribution, despite not being consulted on initial strikes. He avoided direct comment on Trump's remarks describing Australia's efforts as not great, while emphasizing ongoing diplomatic communication with allies. A nationwide fuel crisis has deepened, with hundreds of service stations across NSW, Queensland, and Victoria running dry on diesel or unleaded petrol. Disruptions linked to the Iran war and supply chain issues have triggered panic buying, leading some outlets to impose informal 50-litre purchase caps. Rural and regional areas were hit first, but the problem has spread. The government insists overall supplies remain secure in the near term due to prior measures, yet faces growing calls from the opposition and others to implement temporary fuel excise cuts to ease cost of living pressures. Sydney and the NSW coast are bracing for continued wild autumn weather, including damaging winds, hail, and massive ocean swells reaching 5 to 10 meters. Authorities have declared hazardous no-go zones for swimmers and surfers due to extreme surf conditions and strong southerly winds. The powerful storm system has already caused power outages and travel disruptions, with the cold blast bringing a sharp temperature drop across southeastern Australia. The first significant snowfall of 2026 has fallen in the NSW Snowy Mountains and Tablelands, including at Perisher Ski Resort, where around 4 centimeters settled on the slopes. A strong southerly change caused a dramatic 10 to 12 degree temperature plunge, bringing blizzard-like conditions to alpine regions. Residents described the early autumn snow as surreal and unexpected for March. One Nation has secured a second lower house seat in South Australia, according to ABC election projections. The result reflects rising voter support for the party amid concerns over cost of living, fuel shortages, and migration policies. Pauline Hanson has been actively campaigning on these issues, positioning One Nation as a strong voice for regional and working-class Australians. The outcome signals potential shifts in the political landscape as federal debates intensify over economic pressures linked to global events. Thousands of Australians participated in Walk to Work Day on the 27th of March to promote mental health and well-being. Organized by the Pedestrian Council, events included group walks across Sydney Harbour Bridge and scenic coastal paths in major cities. Participants and organizers encouraged incorporating daily walking into routines as a simple way to reduce stress, improve physical fitness, and foster community connections. A former senior defense commander has issued dire warnings that the AUKUS submarine project risks heading for major failure due to significant delays, escalating costs, and supply chain vulnerabilities. Concerns have grown amid global tensions, including the Middle East conflict, raising questions about Australia's long-term strategic readiness in the Indo-Pacific. The project remains critical for national defense, but experts urge urgent action to address bottlenecks before further setbacks compromise capability timelines and regional security objectives. Victoria's Geelong refinery is increasing production output to help mitigate the national fuel shortage affecting transport and supply chains. The move comes as prices at the pump continue to rise sharply due to international disruptions. Energy Minister Chris Bowen has been engaging with state governments on coordinated emergency responses while downplaying immediate needs for widespread rationing. Opposition leader Peter Dutton and the coalition have renewed calls for an immediate temporary halving of fuel excise to provide relief to households and businesses struggling with record prices. Angus Taylor and other spokespeople argued the measure is necessary amid the cost of living crisis exacerbated by the Iran conflict and supply issues. They criticized the government for not acting faster, urging swift action to ease pressures on families, farmers, and the broader economy. Melbourne airport operations faced significant disruptions from the sudden cold snap and strong winds sweeping southeastern Australia. Flight delays and cancellations affected travelers as temperatures dropped sharply and gusty conditions impacted runways and ground handling. The unseasonal weather is part of a larger pattern, bringing heavy rain, hail risks, and temperature plunges to Victoria and neighboring states, compounding challenges for transport networks already strained by fuel concerns. ABC staff staged a 24-hour strike, the first in nearly 20 years, protesting what they describe as insufficient pay rises and inadequate job security provisions in the proposed new enterprise agreement. During the action, some services shifted to international content feeds. Union representatives emphasized the need for fairer compensation reflecting the rising cost of living, while management maintained the offer was reasonable and negotiations remain open. Australia's latest 2026 rankings of the richest 250 individuals and top earners have been released, revealing shifts in wealth distribution amid economic pressures from inflation, rising fuel costs, and global instability. The list highlights how billionaires and high-income Australians have navigated recent challenges, with some sectors showing resilience, while others face headwinds from the ongoing cost of living crisis and international events. Platinum ticket holders for Bluesfest 2026 have expressed strong dissatisfaction and anger over perceived poor organization and fallout from decisions by event organizer Peter Noble. Some fans reported feeling burned by changes affecting their experience, with public complaints emerging about refunds and overall handling of the popular music festival. Organizers have faced calls for better communication and resolution of outstanding issues. The Bureau of Meteorology has issued warnings for multiple weather hazards across southeastern Australia, including heavy rainfall, damaging winds, hail, and possible thunderstorms. The unsettled autumn pattern follows the recent cold snap and is expected to bring further disruptions to travel, power supply, and outdoor activities in coming days. Communities are advised to stay informed through official channels and prepare for variable conditions. One Nation has criticized the federal government over increased GST revenue collected from rising fuel prices, describing it as an unfair windfall during a time of hardship for families and businesses. The party called for measures such as tax relief or targeted rationing to prevent further economic strain and support those most affected by the current shortages and price spikes. Stop. Hazardous surf warnings remain in place along the NSW coast, with waves up to 5 to 10 meters expected due to the powerful swell generated by the current storm system. Beaches have been deemed extremely dangerous, and authorities strongly advise against swimming, surfing, or entering the water. Beachgoers and coastal residents should exercise caution and heed all safety messages from lifeguards and emergency services. A recent national security survey indicates that nearly 70% of Australians believe the country could face military conflict within the next 5 years. Respondents expressed concerns about insufficient government communication regarding emerging threats, including cyber attacks, economic shocks, and regional instability. The findings highlight growing public anxiety over defense preparedness amid global tensions. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has left the door open for possible temporary fuel tax relief measures following further consultation with states and territories. While rejecting immediate demands from the opposition, he acknowledged public pressure amid soaring prices and shortages linked to the Iran war. The Therapeutic Goods Administration has proposed sweeping reforms to sunscreen regulations aimed at improving protection standards, labeling clarity, and overall consumer safety in Australia. Public consultation is now open on the changes, which seek to ensure products meet higher performance criteria in response to evolving scientific understanding and usage patterns. Writing Australia has announced new funding rounds for 2026-27 to support independent publishers, literary journals, and writers' festivals across the country. The investment opportunities aim to bolster Australian voices, encourage regional participation, and help local authors reach broader domestic and international audiences through grants and partnership programs. Australian cricketer Marnus Labuschagne raised questions about unusual ball discoloration during a Pakistan Super League match, where a white ball reportedly turned pink, possibly due to dye transfer from players' jerseys. The incident prompted discussion on equipment standards and playing conditions in the league. Western Australia's Premier has warned fuel suppliers to maintain full transparency during the current national shortages, while the state braces for potential flow-on effects from Tropical Cyclone Narelle. The government continues monitoring supply chains impacted by international events and domestic weather disruptions. Kakadu National Park and surrounding Northern Territory communities affected by recent flooding from ex-tropical systems are struggling to access timely disaster relief payments despite significant losses of food, clothing, and possessions. Residents are calling for faster federal and territory government support to aid recovery efforts.